Hey, Brent Reed here, your sports critic, and on today's show, we talk about one man, MJ, his airness, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and I'm Brent Reed, and this is an all-new Downright Sports.
When the clock has started.
Welcome everybody to an all-new Downright Sports, and I am your host, the sports critic, Brent Reed, and it is showtime. And if you've never seen the show before, you need to subscribe and become a friend of the show at the bottom. It's at the bottom. The show's on YouTube. Subscribe, like it. It's also on Instagram. Become a friend. Just follow. Be a friend. It's cool. I'm a nice guy. I wear a sports jacket. And it's a... Anyway, today's show is a very cool show. It's a special show. On the eve or on the day of this big event of the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance, airing on ESPN, a little cheap plug for them, I'm doing a special talking about Michael Jordan and why he is still the man. Woo! If you look at the analogs of history, in each field of a certain individual or people, performers, athletes, retail workers, construction workers, you name it. There's one standout. Where I worked is a guy named the Hall of Famer, Mr. Elroy Toon. Shout out to him. In wrestling, there was one man. Woo! The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. In baseball, is Babe Ruth. In boxing, it was Muhammad Ali. In NASCAR, it was the king himself, Mr. Richard Petty. Some will say it's Dale Earnhardt, but let's be Richard Petty is the king and the man. In hockey, it is the Wayne Gretzky. In basketball, it's Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan did so much to make him the ultimate man. He transcended his own sport. Michael became a global phenomenon. He became an influencer. Just look at his impact in the world, in the hip-hop culture. Every guy, after seeing Mike, wanted to wear a Nike warm-up jumpsuit. Most guys was wearing jumpsuits to go to the gym. Cats was wearing jumpsuits just to chill, put the chain in the front, because they saw Mike sitting courtside at the All-Star game with the chain and the jumpsuit. Not to mention the Jays, 30 plus years to this day. The Jordan brand sneaker is the #1 branded sneaker in the world. Others have tried, all have failed. Mike's sneaker still has stood the test of time. Not to mention the bald head look. Michael Jordan made it cool to be a bald headed man. Before Mike, guys were trying to hang on to little bitty hair, but then Mike came along and like, zoom, zoom, zoom. We going more aerodynamic. Just look at Hollywood. You had so many black actors that just cut their hair off because Mike did it. Mike was that, and not to mention the ultimate winner. When it comes to winning, we're going to touch on this again. When it comes down to it, when it comes to winning, grabbing it, the ruthlessness, nobody comes close to Mike. Mike beat his own friends, took them out to dinner and beat their brains in the next day, and then shook their hand and said, hey, Mike didn't have a special handshake with guys he played against. Mike didn't care what the fans said. A fan was telling him he can't shoot a three, so Mike shot a three. And then the famous shrug out of nowhere. I'm just going to keep hitting these things because that's what I could do. There's a story about Michael when he first got into the league. One of his teammates said, you'll never call Janet Jackson. Mike found her phone number and called Janet Jackson and then asked her out on a date. That's Michael Jordan. And that's why Mike is still the man, to be frank. We got 2 segments, we got 3 technically, but the next 2 segments we're just going to focus on some fun aspects. The next segment, what if? I'm going to leave it at that. Downright Sports. Alright everybody. So, Michael Jordan, of course, without a question, is the reason why. Well, Magic and Bird got the ball going, but Mike is the one that took it up the hill. and it's never looked back. The NBA clearly, because of the acts of Magic, Bird, and then his airness, Michael, changed everything. But Michael Jordan did more than just help the NBA. It helped the sports world. ESPN, which was created in 1979, Michael Jordan was drafted in 1984. The two meshed somewhere in 1988, and then the rest was history. Mike led every sports center up until the day he retired in the third time around. That's how big Mike was. Mike, because of what he was able to do on the court, and then what he was able to do off the court, it took sports from just this, oh, they're just a bunch of jocks, to, oh, wow, these may be some serious businessmen. But the question comes down to what if? What if in 1984, a lot of different acts happened? Starting with, what if Mike got drafted number one on another place? In the 1984 draft, the Houston Rockets drafted Akeem Olajuwon first. The Portland Trailblazers drafted Sam Bowie. Back in those days, big men always went first. And Akeem Olajuwon was not an accident. He did win 2 championships. Sam Bowie, on the other hand, had some bad knees and fell apart. And Portland still hasn't recovered since. Jordan went third to the Chicago Bulls. But what if Houston would have drafted Jordan? Would Jordan still have that same success? He would have been playing in Houston, just as big a market, if not a bigger market than Chicago. But would he have had the same pieces? Funny thought, Houston went to the NBA Finals in 1985, if I'm not mistaken, 85, 84. Houston went to the Finals and actually lost to the Boston Celtics. They didn't go back until 1992, but would Jordan being on Houston change everything? He would have been on the West Coast. He would have to compete against tougher talents. The Lakers, Dallas, San Antonio, Seattle. These were tougher teams. And then if you've seen the West as it went on, Utah, the West just always became that Portland. I'm just dropping names. The West always became the tougher, and still to this day, the tougher conference. What if, for example, in that same draft, instead of falling fifth, what if Chicago decided they wanted Charles Barkley, and maybe Jordan falls to the Philadelphia 76ers? He would have been teammates for one season with Dr. J, and then would have been teammates with Moses Malone, Maurice Cheeks. He would have been on a team that just won a championship a year prior in 1983, and he would have been on something really special in the East, and potentially the 76ers, with already some future Hall of Famers and future talented guys, current talented guys at that time, could have changed everything. Could you have seen that Jordan playing in Philly? You think Kobe was his fan? You think Kobe was really his fan? Imagine Kobe being a fan of a guy playing in his hometown. What if, instead of John Stockton falling all the way to the 16th, John Stockton gets selected earlier than that? The chips fell where they may, but what if they didn't? It makes your mind wonder, where could we been? Would Jordan be the guy? Chicago, Mike, the Red, the Black, the Jays, it all just seemed to work together. Although I like the Philly idea. That would have been pretty cool. Then, what if Mike decided, you know what? I'm going to come back for one more year. Because Mike left after his junior year. What if he would have played his senior year? He would have one more year at UNC, and then, not to mention, he would have went in the 1985 draft with the Knicks with the number 1 pick. Mike gets drafted by the Knicks. Everything in my life is different. All I know how to do is win. I'm not doing this podcast because I'm inspired to become an NBA basketball player, because the greatest player of all time is playing in my backyard in my city. Because the Knicks would have been stupid to have let him fall any further. Yes, said Patrick Ewing was in that draft, but we're still taking Michael Jeffrey Jordan number 1. I can guarantee that. Then what if Jordan never retires the first time? We all know Mike leaves after 93 finals, goes to play baseball. What if he chooses to stay? He would have faced, could Houston have knocked him off? Jordan never faced a team that had a big man as his anchor. Never. He always faced guys where guards or forwards was kind of the anchor. He never had faced a guy like Akeem Olajuwon. With the Knicks, who had faced him, that would have been the 3rd year in a row the Knicks would have faced him. Could the Knicks have knocked him off in the Eastern Conference Finals? The following year, Jordan did return half of the season in '95, and they would lose to Orlando. But what if Jordan would have played a whole full season? Would he have lost to Orlando? Would he have lost to Houston? You know what I'm saying? It makes you wonder, because he would have went from having just 6 championships to potentially 8 championships. The guy missed out on 2 more rings. And everybody goes gaga over the fact LeBron went to 8 straight. Well, if you really look at it, Jordan, could have went to 4 straight. Could have went to 5 straight. Yeah, he lost in '95, so we don't really count that. But if you take away that half a season in '95, he went to 6 straight. So, if you really look at it. And then what if in '98, they don't retire? Pippen doesn't go to Houston. Phil doesn't go sit on a farm somewhere, and they come back one more year. That was a strike year, half of a season. The Miami Heat was the best team in the East. You know, if Jordan would have came back, that would not have been the case. And then they would have faced Tim Duncan and David Robinson in the finals. Would that have put a halt in the great Spurs run that we seen because Jordan and those boys took them out? You know what I'm saying? Or would have Jordan lost to Tim Duncan and passed the torch that way? I think these are some great what ifs if you really look at it. What if, though? What if? They didn't happen if you really look at it. The impact Jordan and Pippen were to their team. When they left after '98, the '99 season, which was a shorter season, they went 13-37. The team didn't even win 20 games. It just shows you what was missing on that team. I'm pretty sure Tony Kukoc was still there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to wrap the show up. In the final segment, we're going to talk about the topic that's got everybody buzzing. Michael versus LeBron. I put that subject to an end. I put it in the coffin, bury it, and burn it. Downward Sports. Hey, all right. So, this past week, again, reminding everybody, there's a Jordan documentary coming out, and it's got the conversation going. It's got everybody going crazy. Who's better? Who's the greatest of all time? Who's the greatest of all time may be a conversation for another day. I've had that talk to the most nauseating times. But the conversation that needs to be killed is LeBron greater than Mike? The answer to that is no. 110% no. For LeBron to surpass Mike in greatness, he needs to get in a time machine, go back in time, and not lose more championships than he's appeared in. I don't care if LeBron wins 6. He's not in the category. He had more opportunities. He had more shots at it. So, hey, he only should, right? Here's where we're going to nick all this crap. Stop with he's a great passer. So Magic Johnson's the greatest passer, or Pete Maravich was the greatest passer, or Gary Payton. We want to narrow it down to just championships. Fine then. Magic Johnson. Magic won 5 championships, won the 7. See how it balances? See how he has more than he went to? Not to mention Magic made everybody on his team great. So maybe Magic's better if you think at it like that. Everybody would say that's ludicrous. When they went head-to-head in the finals, guess who won? Michael Jordan. What? Stop playing. You want to talk about the ultimate winner, it's Mike. The only way LeBron James is the greatest player of all time is if we're counting him losing more than him winning, and him being okay with winning. Look, Michael has never sat at a podium and called himself the greatest player in the game. He might have said it, but he's never. He might have said it to under his breath or behind closed doors, but never in a press conference, especially while losing in said final. LeBron has needed multiple times called his mom and said, "I need to play with my friends. Get me friends. Get me this guy. I need this guy. I need Kevin Love. I need Dwayne Wade. I need Chris Bosh. I need Anthony Davis. Give me my friends." While Mike is like, "I want to beat all my friends." Charles Barkley, beat. Patrick Ewing, beat. Clyde Drexler, beat. Excuse me. Gary Payton, beat. Karl Malone, beat. John Stockton, beat. You know what they all have in common? Hall of Famers. Look at Mike's career. Mike played with 2 Hall of Famers, and the second one came at the end of his career, and I'm not quite sure he's really a Hall. I'm pretty sure Mike made him more of a Hall of Famer than he made himself a Hall of Famer, and that is Dennis Rodman. And realistically, Mike was so great, he really made Scottie Pippen a Hall of Famer. Because after Scottie left, Mike, how many championships did Scottie win? 0. How many championships did D. Wade have while LeBron played? Not to mention, Mike would have never left his team and joined on another superstar's team. Never would have happened. Is LeBron great? Yes, he is. But that's like saying, is Wilt Chamberlain great? Is Bill Russell great? These guys are all great in their own way, but the best, the baddest, that's down to Mike. Clear as day. Box office says it, ratings say it, sneaker sales say it, clothing sales say it. LeBron can open up all the schools he wants to. He can put his name on everything he wants to in the world, but nothing comes close to what Michael Jordan has done on and off the court of the game of basketball. You say Mike, all you have to do is just say Mike, and people know who you're talking about. They already know. He's the man. He's the myth. He's the legend. You know what Mike wasn't? Mike wasn't scared to do a dunk contest. That's what Mike wasn't. Mike wasn't scared to put himself out there and say, I am the man. LeBron has protected himself more than John Cena. For those of you who watch wrestling, know that reference. But LeBron makes sure he stays in his little box and he's never wounded. He can't show a sign of weakness. Well, I got news for you. Going to 8 finals and only winning 3 does that, kids. And it's not like he won 3 in a row, or he won 2 in a row and then lost 2. And then, because of a suspension and an injury, he ended up winning. And the game-winning shot went to Kyrie Irving. Didn't even go to LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So let's if you're gonna compare Mike to anyone, the conversation needs to go down to maybe Mike and Kobe. And even if you can't compare Kobe to Mike, you could compare his work ethic, you could compare his ruthlessness, but even Kobe had his downsides. Kobe had that dark period in his career where he wasn't winning anything, where Mike never really had a dark period in his career. Michael Jordan's such a bad man, retires for 2-3 seasons, goes to the Washington Wizards, and is the lead scorer on the team. So, I digress. Let me be clear. LeBron, great. Michael, all-time level. That's it. When they start talking about Rushmore players, the question doesn't start, well, Mike, is he? No, Mike is guaranteed. LeBron, quite honestly, you can get surpassed by some of the guys you're playing against now. You can get surpassed by Anthony Davis. You can get surpassed by Zion Williams. You can get surpassed by Kevin Durant. I'll wrap this up. When Mike played, oh, by the way, I'm boring my co-host if you hear the snoring. But when Mike played, from 1990, from Mike's dominant years on till he retired, there was never a conversation who was the best player in the game. From the time LeBron entered, the conversation has looped around: is KD the best? Is Anthony Davis the best? Is Joel Embiid, the Greek Freak, Carmelo Anthony, D. Wade, Kobe Bryant? Do I need to go on? There have been people said to be better than him, or the conversation was, they are better than him. Why? Because LeBron never stepped up and did what every great man has done. What Muhammad Ali would do, what Ric Flair would do, what Jim Brown would do, what Babe Ruth would have done, what Tom Brady would have done. And that's look his competitors and his peers and say, no, I'm the man. This is how I do it. Instead, he just has handshakes with his guys that he's getting ready to play against. You should not have more handshakes with the opposite team than your current team. Enough said. Hey guys, thanks for watching. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. I got 2 shows knocked out. Go check out the podcast at Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play. Look at that today. Subscribe at the bottom, become a friend of the show. Leave a comment. You don't like what I got to say? Leave a comment. And then hit us up at Instagram and Twitter, and also at the Facebook fan page. You can hit us up. Special shout out to DJ Chase. The song that you're hearing, Beast Off the Leash, is on DJ Chase's current new album, Established 1987. Go download it right now at Apple Podcasts and Google Play and everywhere you can get music. Shout out to Big Tim, Uncle Buddha, who supplied the first 2 tracks for today's show. It's been fun. Enjoy. You guys have a lot of fun. Be safe. That's the biggest thing. Be safe and social distancing, and blessings to all of those who've had family members affected by this craziness. Deuces.